Hey guys, so let's get started with coding our customizable game. Go ahead and open a Python file in Visual Studio or whatever IDE you like to use for Python. So the game is pretty much based on asking the user question after question. The first thing that we can do is actually ask the user for their name. So remember that to ask the user for information, we need to use the input function and we need to store this input in a variable. We can call the variable name. So I'm going to say name is equal to input, open parentheses, enter your name. Now, when the text enter your name is displayed, the user will enter their name and that name will be stored in this variable. The next thing we can do is welcome the user to the game. We can do this by printing out a welcome message that includes the user's name. So we can write print welcome space the user's name to this game. Now let's run the code and test these two first lines of code. So when I run the code, it asks for my name. I will enter a random name, say Tess. And then it says, welcome Tess to this game. Great. Now to start the game, we can say that the user has been walking on a gravel road and it has come to a dead end. Now the user needs to choose whether they want to go left or right. So we can ask the user if they want to go left or right with the input function again. Let's store their answer in a variable called answer. So we can write answer is equal to input, open parentheses. You are on a gravel road and it has come to a dead end. You can turn either left or right. Would you like to go left or right? And let's also convert this input to lowercase so that it won't matter if the user types their answer in uppercase or lowercase letters. So we can just convert it to lowercase by writing .lower, like this. Now, based on whether the user chooses left or right, we want to give them the next question or the next choice to make. So if the user chooses left, then we would want to give them a certain question. And if the user chooses right, then we would want to give them a different specific information. You can choose what happens when the user goes left or right, and you can be as creative as you'd like. So I'm going to say, if answer is equal to left, and then whatever I write inside this if statement is what will be executed if the user chooses to go left. We'll get back to writing the code inside this if statement in a minute. But for now, I'll just leave an empty print statement to avoid an error. Then let's say elif answer is equal to right. And then whatever we write inside this elif statement is what will be executed if the user chooses to go right. Again, for now, I'll just leave an empty print statement. And this is just to avoid an error for now. And then, finally, if the user doesn't enter left or right, and they enter something else, we will say that it is an invalid answer and ask them to restart the game. So we can write else print this answer is invalid. You need to enter either left or right. And then we'll say, please restart the game to try again. Great. Now let's go back to the other code. Make sure that all the code inside each conditional statement is indented like this. And for now, I've just put empty print statements here just to avoid an error, but this is very temporary. Now let's write the code for the first if statement for left. Now we will ask the user another question. So let's say that the user has come to a river and we will give them the choice of either walking around the river or swimming across it. So we'll use an input function again and write answer is equal to, and just keep in mind that you can use whatever variable you want to store the new input. I'm using the same answer variable over here, but you can even name the variable something like Q2, which stands for question 2, or A2, which stands for answer 2. So we'll write answer is equal to input, you have come to a river. You can either walk around it or swim across the river. If you choose to walk around it, type walk, and if you choose to swim, type swim. What would you like to do? Now we expect the user to enter either swim or walk as their answer over here. Again, to make sure that the program doesn't stop if the user uses capital letters in their answer, we can convert their answer to all lowercase by writing dot lower over here like this. So we will code the rest of this if statement in the next video.